thing I came across this week, and this is something kind of fun, and we're going to move quick. Virtual reality. How many of you know what virtual reality is? Right? You see those guys with the headsets and everything, and maybe as grandparents, you've been asked to buy one of these headsets or one of these virtual reality things, not really knowing what the heck this is, right? How many of us have bought presents not really understanding, but taking a picture and then send it to somebody and yeah, that. Okay, if you say so. But virtual reality can be a pretty effective tool when it comes to balance. How many of you have seen places use the Nintendo Wii? Right? They have the ski game where you have the platform, and what that platform does is it detects pressure, right? So imagine yourself going down the ski slope, okay? The Nintendo Wii simulates that. It has a screen, and it has a pretty pleasant picture, and it's a nice long slope, and you have flags in your way that you have to navigate around. And the way you do that is you're standing on this it's not a board. You're standing on this, what would you call it? Contraption. You're standing on this piece of equipment, right? It's pretty thick to handle all the tools and the trinkets that it needs to be able to do to detect the pressure. And as you lean one way, it sends a signal to the TV and the screen, and you see your screen move that way. So it's moving with you as you move back and forth. And now what this is doing is this is creating a proprioceptive environment, right? It's stable, but it's a little unstable. You're having to sync the data your eyes are collecting, your ears are detecting your motion, and your feet are detecting the pressure so as not to lean too far one way or the other. So in some research, virtual reality, what is virtual reality, right? The technical definition is it's an experience where users feel immersed in simulated work, right? You see the goggles, you have things like Oculus. And so it requires software, the goggles. There's even virtual museums. You can go in 3D environments. Pretty cool stuff. If you haven't tried it, you should at least just check it out. All kind of games too. In one recent study, what we found is virtual reality for balance training specifically has some advantages over regular exercise. Results are conflicting. And that may be potentially due to a lack of challenge imposed by those games. Got to think liability, right? So if you're in a facility like physical therapy and balance centers, they do a great job with their technology. So you can make it harder or easier. And so what this study is saying is that maybe it wasn't hard enough, okay? So maybe the challenge is not enough, but the aim of this particular study was to assess to which extent two games challenged balance. And two terms I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Center of mass, and you have functional limits of stability. Center of mass, remember our center of mass? I explained that, guys, to you. You remember scooting yourself all the way up against the wall and bending over. Eventually you fall forward versus coming away from the wall and bending over. Your center of mass is able to change and keep you balanced. That's what they're doing here. They're talking about that same center of mass, okay? So, and they're talking about your functional limits of stability, right? So I'm functional here, but if I go too far, I fall, and that's not functional. Two games. It was one on the Xbox and one on the Nintendo Wii. Both skiing games. They were going to compare them. Got some pretty solid results. You had balance was challenged and data was taken in 8 different directions, right? So you're talking about the front, the back, the side, and then angles. And so what we learned was that in all of those directions, subjects showed significantly larger functional limits of stability during the Xbox game versus the Wii game. And the center of mass and displacement and speed in the Xbox game versus the Nintendo Wii were the same. So basically what they're saying is that the game certainly helped improve their functional limits of stability and how they distributed and changed their center of mass, and that this is promising results for us. So virtual reality looks like it's going to be a tool that we can use in the future to help people from falling. It's something you can do too. If you have an old phone, you get you a headset, right? One of those virtual reality headsets, put the phone in, download an app from the Google Play Store, from the Apple Store, and you can work on your balance right there at home. This might be a good tool for nursing homes, right? Because you can also take virtual tours through Italy or Greece or wherever you may want to go. So some of those that may be restricted could go somewhere. So, all right, guys, that's about it. Let's go ahead and get to our balance. I just want to make sure. Yeah.